My name is Durgesh, and I am creating this video to showcase various architectural setups for conversational AI, digital human, and generative AI's intersection. Let's start with setup number one, where a website visitor directly talks to a chatbot. Now, if we were to leverage generative AI in this particular architecture, what we can possibly do is connect this chatbot that you see on the right hand side of your screen with a large language model, which means what message gets delivered to the customer can now be fulfilled via the generative AI engine connected to the chatbot. Let's look at architectural setup number two. Now, in the previous architectural setup, we had connected chatbot with the large language model to cater to what message gets delivered to the customer, but how the message gets delivered to the customer is still a question mark. So this in this architectural setup number 2, we will pull digital human technology and put that technology in the middle layer, where the website visitor would not directly talk to a chatbot now. The website visitor will talk to a digital avatar. Digital avatar will talk to a chatbot. Chatbot is connected to a large language model. Chatbot's large language model will return an answer back to the avatar. Avatar will return back the answer to the caller. And that's how this architectural setup will work. However, what if we want the middle layer to be represented by the person we want? What if we can clone a human, living human or dead, and put that human as our digital human, as our representative of the brand? So I'm going to take an example of Morgan Freeman just to demonstrate the the idea, where the architectural setup remains the same as what we saw in the previous example. It's just that instead of using a random face, we have cloned Morgan Freeman and put Morgan Freeman as our digital human in the middle layer. How can we clone Morgan Freeman or someone else? We can use generative AI. We can use image of Morgan Freeman as an input and digital avatar of Morgan Freeman as an output defined by the generative AI. Let's see this live in action just to understand how that experience would look like.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
Now, this use case is very helpful because a brand like Hyundai might want to use Shah Rukh Khan's image, brand like Pepsi might want to use Beyonce, and brand like Coca-Cola might want to use Taylor Swift, right? So you need to be able to technologically clone humans, and that's where architectural number 3 plays a very important role. Now let's look into architectural number 4, and this is for a use case where you are actually not connected to a chatbot, but you are connected to a live agent. Now, chatbot can potentially answer 70, 80, 90% of all the customer queries, but there are still handful of queries that still go to live agent and will continue to go to live agent even in future. And you would not want the the end caller to have an experience of talking to Morgan Freeman at one side and a live agent on the other side if he's on a video call. What if we could use generative AI again to capture the speech of live agent as an input to the generative AI model and let the generative AI model give an output of Morgan Freeman's video in the exact same image, in the exact same speech,
I am
exact
not
same
Morgan Freeman,
emotions.
and
Let's
what you
see how
see
that
is
would work.
not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality. Now, what do you see?
All right, so all these concepts that we saw in this video are a little advanced, which means that right now there are only a handful of companies across the globe using it. But this really is a very innovative way of the future of how the world may possibly move in the future in the conversational AI space, and hence digital human and conversational AI and generative AI combination is going to transform the experience of a caller in a very different way as compared to what the experience caller gets today.